Welcome to the Vietnamese Poetry, Literature channel. Today we will listen to the story of the girl Nam Xuong. Let's listen. Vu Thi Thiet, a girl from Nam Xuong, has a charming and modest personality, plus a good personality. In the village, there was a young man, Trong Sin, who loved him because of his kindness. He asked his mother to bring him 100 ounces of wedding gold. Song Trong Sin has a suspicious nature and is too careful with his wife. She also maintains discipline, never letting her husband fall into discord. Not long after the reunion, the court forced soldiers to fight the Champa invaders. Even though Trong was from a wealthy family, he was not educated, so he had to enter the first class in the military register. When he left, his mother told him, "Now I have to temporarily join the army and leave under my pillow." Although the association of fame and fortune has been rare since ancient times, in military affairs you must know how to keep yourself important, retreat when encountering difficulties, measure your strength to advance. And do not be greedy for fragrant bait and accidentally fall into traps. Great mandarins and nobles leave it to others. Only then can the mother stay at home and not worry about her children. He knelt down on the ground to obey the instructions. She poured a full cup of wine to bid her husband farewell and said, "When you go on this trip, I don't dare to hope to be able to wear the seal of the Marquis and wear a brocade shirt to return to my hometown. I only ask that the day I return, I can bring with me 2 words of peace. That's enough trouble. I'm just afraid that the military's affairs will be difficult to predict, and the enemy's position will be unpredictable. The crazy enemy is still lurking, the imperial army is still working hard, and there is no way to split bamboo yet, and the melon season is too ripe, making this concubine worried and my good mother worried. Looking at the moon illuminating the old city, preparing cold clothes, sending people far away, looking at the weeping willows in the desert, I'm afraid there won't be any flying rose petals." When she said this, everyone had 2 tears in their eyes. Then, as soon as the farewell party ended, his shirt fell apart. Tears, the scenery is still the same, but people's hearts are dyed with love, thousands of miles away. At that time, she was pregnant, and after being separated from her husband for just a week, she gave birth to a son, named Dan. Day by day, half a year has passed. Every time I see butterflies flying around the garden, clouds covering the mountains, the sadness at the corner of the horizon cannot be stopped. The mother also missed her child and gradually became sick. She did her best to pay homage to the Buddha's deity and advised him with sweet and clever words. But her illness got worse day by day. She knew she couldn't live, so she told her, "Short and long have their destiny, bright and withered by the sky. It's not that I don't want to wait for my husband and children to come home, but I don't try to eat rice and porridge to happily reunite. However, being extremely greedy makes it difficult to avoid fate. When the water runs out, the bell rings, the numbers and energy are exhausted. A broken body, in danger in the morning and evening, life and death cannot help but bother you. My husband and children live far away and don't know how to live or die. They can't return to repay the favor. Later, heaven will examine good hearts and bestow blessings, good lineage, many descendants, and that green tree will not betray its children, just as children will not betray their mothers." After the old lady finished speaking, she passed away. She was full of compassion, took care of all the funerals and offerings as if she were her own parents. The following year, the enemy stubbornly refused to be tied down, and the military affairs ended. When Trong Sin returned home, he learned that his mother had passed away and that his child had just learned to speak. He asked for his mother's grave, then took his little child to visit. The child refused, went to the field, cried, and comforted him. "Shut up, baby, don't cry. When my father returned, my grandmother had passed away, and my father was very sad. The innocent child said, "Oh great! So you are also my father." He can speak again, unlike my father before who just kept silent. He asked in surprise. The little child said, "Before, there was often a man who came every night. Dan's mother walked, Dan's mother sat, but never carried Dan. He has a jealous personality, and when he heard his son say that, he thought he was a bad wife. His suspicions became deeper and deeper, and nothing could dispel him. When he got home, he shouted loudly to vent his anger. His wife cried and said, 'I was born to a poor person and relied on a rich family. Reunited without sexual satisfaction, divided because of military troubles. 3 years apart, keeping one lesson. Wearing lipstick and makeup has calmed my heart, the willow alley and wall of flowers have never taken off. There is no such loss of character as he said. Dare to express my doubts. I hope you don't continue to doubt me.' He still doesn't believe it. But when she asked who said it, she hid what her son said, just scolded her with this insinuation and that, and chased her away. Neighbors defended and argued for her, but it didn't help at all. She reluctantly said, 'The reason I rely on you is because I have the pleasure of being at home. Now the vase has fallen and the brooch has broken, the clouds have stopped and the rain has dissipated, the lotus has drooped in the pond, the willow has withered in the wind, crying for the snow, the flowers fall off their stems, crying for spring. The swallows leave the flock, the deep water sails far away, where can they go to Vong Phu Mountain again?' Then she showered, went to Hoang-Jiang Wharf, looked up at the sky and lamented. This unfortunate person has a miserable fate, his husband and children have deserted him, everything is tied up, his reputation is humiliated, the river god has a spirit, please witness. If you are dignified and keep your chastity, if you are chaste and keep your heart, if you enter the country, please be the jade mi nun, if you go to the ground, please be the grass ngu mi. I agreed to be a fish and a bird, lied to my husband and lied to my children, asked to be food for fish and shrimp from below, asked to be food for kites and crows from above, and was spit on by everyone.' Having finished speaking, she threw herself into the river and died. Although he was angry that she had been unfaithful, seeing her commit suicide was also moved by pity. He searched for her body, but could not find her anywhere. One night the room was deserted, he was sitting under a late lamp, suddenly his son said, 'Father Dan is coming again.' 'Where did he ask?' 'It points to his shadow on the wall. Here it is.' It turned out that on weekdays, when she was alone, she often teased her child, pointing at her shadow and saying it was Dan's father. Only then did he wake up and understand his wife's injustice, but the matter was over. In the same village as her, there was a man named Fan Lang, who used to be a leader at Hoang-Jiang Wharf. One night he had a dream and saw a girl in a blue shirt coming to beg for his life. Waking up in the morning, Fan Lang saw a fisherman bringing in a green shell turtle as a gift. Suddenly thinking about the dream, he released the turtle. At the end of the reign of Kai Dai Ho dynasty, the Ming army borrowed Tram Thiem Bin's reputation to bring Tram Thiem Bin back to the country, breaking into the Kai Lang Gate. Many people in the country were afraid and had to flee out of the lake. Unfortunately, the boat sank and they all drowned. Fan Lang's body washed up in a turtle cave on the island. A woman named Lin Fai saw it and said, "This is the benefactor who saved my life in the past." Lin Fai then used a hidden towel to wipe it, poured some magic medicine, and after a while Fan Lang woke up. Fan saw the magnificent and splendid brocade temple palace, but did not know that he had entered the water palace of the magical turtle. At that time, Lin Fai was wearing a brocade shirt inlaid with jade and gold encrusted shoes. She smiled and told Fan Lang. I am Lin Fai in the Turtle Cave, the wife of the King of the South Sea. I remember when I was young, I was playing at the river wharf and was caught by a fisherman. It happened to me in a dream, and I was grateful. Meeting today, isn't it heaven's will that I have the opportunity to repay the favor? Phi then placed a bird's nest in the Tru Duong guardhouse to treat Fan Lang. Attending the party that day were countless beauties, elegantly dressed, with their hair tied in buns. Among them, there was a person with only a little makeup on his face who looked very similar to Vu Nun. Fan meant to peek, but didn't dare admit it. After the party, the woman said to Fan Lang, "You and I are from the same village, we've never seen each other, have we forgotten each other?" Only then did Fan recognize that person as Vu Nun and asked the reason. She said, "I was unfortunately slandered the other day and had to throw myself into the river and commit suicide. The fairies in the water palace felt sorry for my innocence and parted the water so I could escape death, otherwise I would have been buried in the belly of a fish. Where would I have met you?" Fan said. Nun Tu's meaning is different from Sao Na's. He regrets not Tin Vei but has to hold his grudge and throw himself into the water. Now that the old grain is gone and the new grain has just been harvested, why don't we remember our homeland? Vu Nun says, I was abandoned by my husband, I would rather grow old in a cloud village and water palace, than have the face to see him again. Fan said, the lady's fairy house, the trees become a forest, the lady's fairy grave, the thorny grass is blinding. Even if you don't think about it, what if the immortals still expect you? Hearing this, Vu Nun burst into tears, then decisively changed her tone and said, maybe we can't post hidden pictures here forever, because it will gain a bad reputation. Is it true that the Ho horse roars in the north wind, while the Vietnamese bird perches on the south branch? Because of that, I must find my way home one day. The next day, Lin Fai took a purple silk bag containing 10 pearls and ordered the messenger Ich Hun to take Fan out of the country. Vu Nun also sent a yellow flower and said, please tell Mr. Trong, if you still remember the old love, please set up a herd of injustice at the riverbank, light a magic lamp to shine on the water, I will return. When he arrived at the house, Fan told the story to the Trong family. Trong didn't believe it at first. But when he received the golden flower, he was scared and said, this is indeed the item my wife brought when she left. He followed his instructions and set up a menorah